Hi, boys and girls. How are you? How was your week? I hope it was a good one. Did you find anything cool to dress up as for your armor of God? That was such a cool lesson. I kind of had some excitement this week. I don't know if your class does butterflies, but mine does. And I got super excited because they popped out of their little chrysalises this week. And I was just really excited about that. So let me go ahead and show you what they look like real quick. So this is my little butterfly enclosure. And these are the little chrysalises that they popped out of. Don't worry, that's not blood. That's just the ink that comes off of their wings when they hatch. So I just thought that was kind of cool. Wanted to share that with you. And there you have it. Those are my cool little butterflies, and I was really excited about that this week, sorry. So hopefully you get to do some fun things like that in your classroom. I'm sure you've all been working really hard. So this week we're going to be talking about Ruth, the book of Ruth. It's about 4 chapters long and really focusing on kindness and loyalty and faithfulness and all the really cool things that come with it. So if you have time and if you want to, there's a video link that I attached in the lesson plans. It's for the Bible Project, and it does the whole story of Ruth for you. And it does it with pictures, and it's just really beautifully explained. So if your kiddo's a little older or really likes pictures like I do, you can go ahead and hop on and watch that. So without further ado, let's get started. At this time, go ahead and grab your Bibles. We'll start in Ruth chapter 1. Once upon a time in the Old Testament, there was a woman named Ruth. Ruth was a woman who came from the country of Moab. One day, Ruth met a man named Elimelech and his wife, Naomi. Naomi was from the country of Judah and from the city of Bethlehem. Have you heard the city Bethlehem before? Can you name who was later born in that city? I'll bet you can. Naomi had 2 sons, and Ruth married one of them. Naomi's other son married a woman named Orpah. Then one day, sadness struck their family. Naomi's husband Elimelech died, and not soon after that, her 2 sons died. So Ruth's husband and Orpah's husband died too. Naomi was very, very sad. She decided to leave Moab and go back to her land of Judah. She told her daughters-in-law Ruth and Orpah to leave her and go back to their country of Moab. Orpah cried and cried, but in the end, she hugged Naomi and left. But Ruth clung to Naomi and would not let go of her. "Look," said Naomi, "your sister-in-law is going back to her people and her gods. Go back with her." But Ruth replied, "Don't ask me to leave you or to turn back from you. Where you go, I will go, and where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God, my God." What a faithful woman. Do you remember when we talked about idols and about people who worship things that weren't God? Ruth came from such a culture that believed these things, so that was her religion. When she chose to leave with Naomi, she left her religion behind. She left behind her house, any family members she might have, and her friends. Ruth loved Naomi so much and had so much compassion on this older woman that she chose to do the next right thing, even though she was grieving and was very sad too. She loved her so much that she left behind and followed Naomi and her God, Naomi's God, not even knowing what would happen next to her. Ruth chapter 2. Because Naomi and Ruth were no longer married, that means they didn't have a husband to provide for them anymore.
They were poor, and they needed to come up with a way to feed and take care of themselves. Let's find out what happens next. Now Naomi, let's pull up Miss Naomi here, had a relative on her husband's side from the clan of Elimelech, a man of standing whose name was Boaz. Basically, this man named Boaz and Naomi were relatives. A relative is like your cousin, your aunt, your uncle, sister, brother, all those are relatives. And Ruth the Moabitess said to Naomi, "Let me go to the fields." Our background here is a field. "And pick up the leftover grain behind anyone in whose eyes I find favor." Naomi said to her, "Go ahead, my daughter." So she went out and began to glean in the fields behind the harvesters. As it turned out, she found herself working in a field belonging to Boaz, Naomi's relative.
Glean? What does it mean to glean? That's an interesting word. Let's play the following game to find out.
To play this game, you're going to need at least 2 different people, but you can always use more if you like. You're going to need 2 different types of objects. For the video, we're using cereal, but you can use anything, yarn, string, toys even. You're going to pretend that one item is your wheat, just my shredded wheat right here, and you're going to pretend that another item is the leftovers, which is what gleaning is what Ruth is going to do. She's going to go through and pick up the leftovers. So one person, go ahead and decide which one of you now is going to be a wheat harvester, and the other person is going to be Ruth. So go ahead and decide who that's going to be right now. All right, if you chose to be the wheat harvester, set a timer for 1 minute and gather as much wheat as you possibly can in that minute. Ready, set, go. Now, whoever's going to be playing Ruth, go through and pick up all of your leftovers. So in the end, who has more? Ruth or the harvesters? Play this game again, but this time have a member of your family play Boaz. This is where Boaz comes into our story. He saw Ruth and how hard she was working to provide food for Naomi. This is what she would do with the leftovers. She'd go home and she'd bake bread out of them. So he told his workers, when you're out in the field, leave extra for Ruth. Now, play this game again, and you might switch who's the harvester and who plays Ruth. Ready, set, go. Because Boaz was a relative of Naomi's, that meant that he could save Naomi and Ruth from poverty. He gladly did this by marrying Ruth, and he also did the next right thing and showed his kindness. Ruth and Boaz had a baby named Obed, and Ruth got to be King David's great-grandmother and an ancestor to Jesus himself. What's more, Naomi got to have a family again. Isn't that a great feeling? That's a pretty cool reward for being kind. Because Ruth and Boaz were kind both to each other and to those around them, neither of them was kind to others because they wanted something out of it. They were kind because they loved their neighbors and their family members. To quote Anna from the movie Frozen 2, I'm sure you've heard me quote it a couple of times in the video, so forgive my cheesiness. But both Ruth and Boaz chose to do the next right thing, which is a song that she sings in the movie, right? And look how God worked and was glorified through it.
So the story of Ruth is such a great reminder of kindness and faithfulness and loyalty, and how God rewards our little kindnesses every day. He sees us and He loves us, and if we continue to be kind to ourselves and to other people, then He's going to do great things through us. And another little mini lesson you can take away from all this is that he's going to provide for you. He's going to take care of you and your needs. It may not be exactly how you imagined it in your mind, or it may not be as fast as you think it will be. It's going to be even better. I can guarantee you that. It certainly was for Ruth and Naomi. Look at where they ended up. So your craft this week looks something like this. You can use what I sent, or you can draw your own. And you've also got some little hearts that I sent as well. And on those little hearts, I would love for you to write or draw some ways that you can be kind to other people. So one of the ways I'm going to be kind is to write a nice little note to someone that I love. And try to pick one of the things that you wrote or drew. Wow. And try to do at least one of those things this week, okay? And hope you can succeed with that. So hang in there. It's almost summertime. If the weather holds out, I hope you get to go play in the water or play in your pool if you have one. Other than that, have a great week, kiddos. Bye.